திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். புழியர்கோன் வெப்பொழித்த புகழியர்கோன் கடல் போற்றி, ஆழிமிசை கல்மிதப்பில் அணைந்த பிரான் அடி போற்றி, வாழி திருநாவலூர் வன்றொண்டர் பதம் போற்றி, ஊழிமலி திருவாத ஊரர் திருத்தாள் போற்றி. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். I was mute for a moment. So we are continuing from the 7th verse on this padhigam. Let us, maybe Murthy can follow with me on the initial one, and then later Rama can repeat the whole thing. niṛpaṉavum, naḍappaṉavum, nilaṉum, nīrum, neruppiṉoḍu, kāṭrāgi, neḍu-vāṉ ஆகி, ārpamoḍu, perumaiyuமாய், arumai ஆகி, aṉbu uḍaiyārkku, eḻimaiyadu ஆய், aڵakkal ஆகா, taṛparamaய், cadāsiவமாய், தானும் யானும் ஆகின்ற தன்மையனை நன்மையோடும் பொற்புடைய பேசக் கடவோம், பேயர் பேசுவன பேசுதுமே, பிழையற்றோமே. Good. So as we have seen in the previous songs of this padhigam, every song is giving a response to the minister and the king's men who have come to arrest him and take him back to king's court for punishment. So every song is a reply, and in every song it describes attributes of Shiva. He describes his own current state as a devotee of Shiva, and why he is not obligated to obey the king's command. So that's how this also goes. So in this, the first 3/4 of this verse is describing Shiva's attributes. And in the last line he says, I only sing that Shiva's glory. I don't speak the evil, bad, I don't speak these nasty words that these evil people speak. I am faultless, I am blemishless, I have not done anything wrong. That's how he finishes that song. Now we will look at each phrase and word, and then we'll have a very good idea. niṛpaṉavum. This comes from the root nil. Nil in Tamil is to stand or to stop. So niṛpaṉavum means all the things that are stationary. naḍappaṉavum. Nada means to walk or to move from place to place. So all the moving things. So he is describing the class. In Indian philosophy we classify things as stationary and moving things, right? All the beings, all the things that are stationary, and all the beings and all the things that are moving. So commonly they are referred to in Sanskritam as sthavara jangama. That's what he is referring to. All the things that are stationary and all the things that are mobile. He says Shiva is everything. The āgi means you are. Becoming or being is the meaning of the word āgi. So he is giving a list of things, and Shiva is all of those things. So niṛpaṉavum, naḍappaṉavum āgi. So Shiva is everything that is moving and stationary. And then he describes the 5 elements, the panchabhutas. Nilaṉum. Nilaṉum means Nilan is earth. nīrum. Nīr is water. neruppiṉoḍu. Neruppu means fire. kāṭru. Kāṭru is air. vāṉ is sky. So he is describing the 5 elements that are traditionally described as that make up this universe. So all the 5 elements, the earth, the water, the fire, the wind and the sky. nilaṉum is earth, nīrum is water, neruppiṉoḍu kāṭrāgi, fire and wind, neḍu-vāṉ. Neḍu means big, long or big. vāṉ is sky. neḍu-vāṉ means the big sky. So he is describing that Shiva is everything. He is everything that is stationary, he is everything that is moving, and he is all the 5 elements. And the second line, āṛpamoḍu perumaiyum. Ārppam means very small, very minute. Perumai means big. So āṛpamoḍu perumaiyum means Shiva is the smaller than the smallest, is bigger than the biggest. That's what that phrase means. āṛpamoḍu perumaiyum. And then he puts a phrase, arumai aṉbuடையார்க்கு eḷimaiyadu. Arumai means something which is very rare, which is very difficult to obtain. Right? That's why we call them, in common things too, we say rare elements, rare metals, which are very few and very not easy to obtain. So arumai means Shiva is not easily obtained. And then in the next phrase he says, aṉbu uḍaiyārkku eḻimaiyadu. aṉbu is love. This is a phrase that will come in many songs. aṉbu. aṉbu stands for love in various forms. Typically when we say love, it can be a love between a mother and a son, love between a devotee and the God. So it's a affection, the love that one has for God, right? And what he is saying here is aṉbu uḍaiyārkku, to those who have deep love for Shiva, eḻimaiyadu. Eḻimai means easy to obtain, very easily got, something that is very easily available. So Shiva is not easily obtained, but easily obtained by the loving devotees. So he is describing Shiva's attributes like that. And then aڵakkal āgāt taṛparamai. Aڵakkal means to measure, to quantify. Āgāt means which is not possible, impossible to measure. Aڵakkal āgāt means impossible to measure. Taṛparam. Param is, this is from the Sanskrit word param. Param is the ultimate thing. So aڵakkal āgāt taṛparamai means he is the supreme one who cannot be measured because he is limitless. If there is a limit, you can measure, but if there is no limit, how can you measure? So aڵakkal āgāt taṛparamai, that means he is the infinite one. Cadāsivam. Cadāsivam is a form of Shiva, and in this philosophy they have different forms and different attributes associated with them. So the Cadāsivam is the one form that bestows grace. So that's how they describe it. So he is the Cadāsiva. And then there comes a very important phrase, tānum yānum āgindra tanmayanai. Tanmai means the quality, attributes or gunam. Gunam is tanmai in Tamil. Tānum yānum. Tān means he, Yan means I. So Shiva is he and he is I. So he is in everything. He is separate as God, but he is also in me. So Shiva is, God is such that he is separate from everything, but he is also in everything. So that philosophical concept is describing here. Tānum yānum āgindra tanmayanai is both different from us and he is also in us. That kind of qualities he had. That Shiva. So he is describing all these attributes of Shiva and he is saying, that Shiva, what is my role? Nanmayodum porpudaya pesak kadavum. Nanmai means good. So, nanmayodum, nicely, porpu udaya pesa kadavum. Pesa means to speak. Porpu udaya means is glory. So, we are his devotees, and we described Shiva's qualities, and his devotees we, and we speak only of his glory nicely. Right? Peyar pesuvana pesudume. Peyar means the devils. Pey in Tamil means the ghost or devil. So, Peyar. Peyar means the people who are devils, which is he is referring to the Jains here. The Jains talk ill about Shiva, talk ill about Vedic practices. So, what he is saying is, Peyar pesuvana pesudume is a question, rhetorical question here. Will we speak like these devils? That's what he is saying. Pidai atrome. Pidai means fault. Atrom means we don't have. Pidai atrome means we are faultless. We have no faults, we have not done anything wrong. So, what he doesn't say here, but we know from the previous songs, we are not obligated to listen to you, obey your king's command. I am not coming. That's implication, implicit in this verse. So, to summarize, he is describing Shiva's attributes, that he is in everything, he is in the 5 elements, he is in all beings, he is not easy to obtain, but he is very easily obtained by the devotees. He is infinite, he cannot be measured, and he is the grace, he is the one who bestows grace on everybody, and he is different from everyone, and he is in everyone. Such a Shiva, I only speak his glory. I don't speak like this evil mouth guys, right? The evil people who speak ill of Shiva and Hinduism. I don't speak like that, and I have no faults. I have not done anything wrong. I have no faults. So I don't have to listen to your king's order. That's a summary of 7th song. If you have any questions or comments, we can talk. No? Okay. So, one thing I was going to say is that some of these phrases in this song of God's attributes, you will probably be reminded of some words, phrases in Purusha Suktam. In Purusha Suktam, the first few lines, if you recall, you'll say Sahasra Sirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishtat Dasangulam, and Purusha Evedagum Sarvam Yadbhutam Yachabhavyam, and all that it goes, right? The first few lines. If you look at the meaning, you will find that. Sahasra Sirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat, right? He has got 1,000 hairs, 1,000 eyes, 1,000 feet, etc. That means he is in everything. He is in all beings. He is seeing everything through the eyes and ears of all beings. That's the kind of thing. He is in everything. And similarly, Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva, right? He is covering everything. He is everything. He is extending beyond everything. Atyatishta Dasangulam, right? He is infinite. He cannot be measured. He goes beyond this universe. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that that's what it says. Purusha Evedagum Sarvam. That phrase literally means God is in everything, and so on and so forth. So that I just mentioned it so that you can later on go read Purusha Suktam paragraphs and see the similarities here. Okay, if there is no comment, we'll go to the Rama. You can repeat the whole verse. niṛpaṉavum. Good. Good. So now we will go to the 8th verse. And Ramakrishna, maybe you can follow with me. ஈசனை எவ்வுலகினுக்கும் இறைவன் தன்னை இமையவர்தம் பெருமானை எரியாய் மிக்க தேசனை செம்-mēணி veṇ-nīṭrāணை silambu-araiyaṉ பொற்பாவை நலம் செய்கின்ற நேசனை நித்தலும் நினையப் பெற்றோம் நின்று உண்பார் எம்மை நினையச் சொன்ன வாசகமெல்லாம் மறந்தோம் அன்றே வந்தீர் ஆர் மன்னவன் ஆவான்தான் ஆரே. மன்னவன் ஆவான்தான் ஆரே. Good. So, I'm sorry? Go ahead. What were you saying, Ramakrishna? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a typo there. I have to fix it. So, Mannavan Avantan Are. If you look at the English part above that, Mannavan Avantan Are. I have to fix that. It's, somehow in my editing I had missed it. Okay. Yeah. Correct. So, if you... In this song is again describing Shiva's attributes for the first 2/3 of the song, and then in the last 1/3 of the song he says, I have already forgotten all the things that the Jains taught me. Okay, who are you guys? Who is this king that you are talking about? That's how he finishes the song. Very powerful rhetorical questions. We will look at the word meaning and then we will look at the whole thing again. ஈசனை எவ்வுலகினுக்கும். Isan, Isha is the Sanskritam word, we know. Many times we use the words without really looking deeply into the meaning of the words. That's a normal thing that happens in life. But if you look at the word Isanai, Isha is master, the Lord. So, Yevvulaginukkum. Ulagu means the world. Yevvulagu means to all the worlds. So, Shiva is the Lord of this entire universe. All the worlds in this universe is the Lord. That's what the phrase Isanai Yevvulaginukkum means. The next phrase, Iraivan Thannai. Iraivan is a Tamil word which means God in a general sense, but it's a word that comes from the root iruttal. Iru means to be, to remain in everything. So Iraivan is some Lord who dwells in everything, who is in everything. That's the root word meaning of that word, Iraivan. That means the Lord, the God who is in everything in this universe. Iraivan Thannai, that Lord. Imayavartham Perumanai. Imayavar means the Devas. The Peruman is their master. So Imayavardham Perumana is the Lord of the Devas. Eriyai mikka tesanai. Eri means fire. Mikka means to be in large quantity, to be huge. Tesan is a word, comes from Sanskritam word Tejas. Tejas is somebody who is very bright, very effulgent, that kind of thing, with associated with light. So, Eriyai mikka tesanai means he is the radiant one, he is the effulgent one, who is like a fire. And then next phrase, sem-mēṉi veṇ-nīṭrāṉaic. So is describing different attributes of Shiva. In one attribute is formless, in the form of light, right? Is a big form, like a Koti Surya Prakasam is often described in various stotrams. So he is a bright like a billion suns. So that's what it's saying. Eriyai mikka tesanai is bright like, very bright like fire. And then it says sem-mēṉi veṇ-nīṭrāṉaic. Now he is talking about the typical, the common form that we all worship in, Shiva as Parvati and all that, right? So as Shiva, he has got a red body, sem-mēṇi. Mēṇi means body, sem is red. So he has got a red body which is red in color, and on that body he has applied holy ash which is white in color. veṇ-nīṭrāṉaic. Veṇ is white, Nīru is sambal, the ash. veṇ-nīṭrāṉaic means one who has applied the white ash on one's body. So sem-mēṇi veṇ-nīṭrāṉaic means Shiva has a red colored body on which he has applied white ash. And then next phrase is silambu-araiyaṉ porpāvai nalam seiginra nesanai. So here he is talking of Shiva who is loved by Parvati. So Parvati is, as you know, is a daughter of Himavan, the mountain, king of mountains. Right? So Silambu in Tamil means mountain. Araiyaṉ means king. Arasan is commonly used. Araiyaṉ is also used. Silambu-araiyaṉ means mountain king. That's the literal meaning of Silambu-araiyaṉ, mountain king. Porpāvai, beautiful daughter. Pāvai is girl. Porpāvai is beautiful girl. So the beautiful girl of mountain king, that is Parvati. Nalam seiginra nesanai. He is loved by her, right? He has got Parvati on one side. So, nesan is again from the Sanskrit word nesam. Nesam is love. So, Shiva is the loving husband of Parvati. That's the meaning of that phrase. Silambu-araiyaṉ porpāvai nalam seiginra nesanai. So, he has described Shiva's attributes, that he is the master of all this universe. He is the God who is omnipresent. He is the Lord of the Devas. He has got an effulgent, radiant one. He is a radiant one with very bright form. And he has got a red body with white holy ash. And he is the loving husband of Parvati, who is the daughter of Himavan. So he described Shiva's attributes in all these various phrases. And then he says, that Shiva, nittalum nanayappetrum. Nittal means nityam, always, every day. Nanayappetrum, we are meditating on him. We are thinking about that Shiva all the times, right? So nittalum nanayappetrum means we are thinking of that Shiva at all times. Because we are thinking of Shiva at all times, when you are thinking of Shiva all the times, do you have anything else in your mind? Nothing else will be there in your mind. So, நின்று உண்பார் எம்மை நினையச் சொன்ன வாசகமெல்லாம் மறந்தோம் அன்றே. This phrase refers to Jains. Nindru unbar. Nindru means standing. Unbar means those who eat. As you know, in thevaram verses, various Jain practices of those days will be reflected at different places. So one of those practices is that we saw an earlier thing, Jains pluck their hairs, etc. And here he is saying, Nindru unbar. Jains don't sit down to eat. They will always, as a practice, they will only eat when they are standing. They don't sit down. So that's why he's saying, Nindru unbar. Those people who eat standing. That means the Jains. Emmai ninayach sonna vaasagamellam marandom andre. So the Jains have taught him all the things, right? The vachakam is vachakam, all their teachings. So Jains, when he was a Jain monk, the Jains have taught him all the Jain scriptures, their philosophies, and all the things that he has to say when he is criticizing Hindu religion. So they have taught him all those things, that how to disparage Shiva, how to argue with Shiva devotees, etc. They have taught him all that when he was a Jain. So he says, whatever they have taught me and asked me to remember, I have forgotten all of them. Ninayach sonna means they have asked me to remember these things. They taught me a bunch of things, teachings, and they wanted me to remember all those things. And all those things, marando mandre, we have already forgotten. Marattal means to forget. Marando mandre means is emphatically saying that I have forgotten. So the Jains who eat standing, whatever they asked us to remember, we have already forgotten. Vandir are. Vandir means those who have come. You have come here, right? Are means who. Vandir are means who are you? Mannavan avantan are. Who is this king that you are referring to? What a powerful way of saying, right? Like, this is something that shows this transformation. He knows the king, right? He has been a Jain monk for the last 30-40 years. So he knows the ministers, he knows the kings, he knows all of them. But now he is asking, who are you? Who is this king you are talking about? Says that, basically implying that he has got nothing to do with them anymore. So that is the gist of this song. If you have any comments, questions, we can talk. Okay, Rama, can you repeat the whole verse? Good, very good. So the 9th verse. So Murthy, you can follow with me. Sadai udayan, Sangakulai, or Kadan, Sambalum, Pambum, அணிந்த மேனி விடை உடையான் வேங்கை அதழ் மேலாடை வெள்ளி போல் புள்ளி உழைமான் தோல் சார்ந்த உடை உடையான் நம்மை உடையான் கண்டீர் உம்மோடும் மற்றும் உளராய் நின்ற படை உடையான் பணி கேட்கும் பணியோம் allōm பாசம் அற வீசும்படியோம் நாமே. Good. So in the 9th verse, again is describing in the first 2/3 of the song Shiva's attributes and says that he is a servant of that Shiva, and then in the last few lines he says we are not obligated to listen to your king and we are free. That's what he is saying in the end. Let's look at the words and their meanings, then it will make a lot more sense for you. Sadai udayan is the first phrase. Sadai is a Tamil form of jata, Shiva's matted locks. So Sadai udayan means Shiva has matted locks. The next phrase is Sanga Kudai or Kādan. In the first song itself we saw Kudai is a word that means men's earring. Sanga Kudai means the Kudai that is made with shells, conches. Sanga Kudai is shankam, right? Sanskrit word for conch or a shell. So Sanga Kudai, the Kudai is the earring that is made with shells, that is worn by men. He wears it in one ear. Or Kādan. Kādu means ear. Or means one. So Sanga Kudai or Kādan means he wears a men's earring on one ear. And what does it mean? It is referring to the Ardhanarishwara form, where he wears a men's earring on one ear. Implicitly that means that other ear he doesn't wear that. He wears a thodu. Thodu is the earring that is worn by women. So there are different types of earrings, and that's what is implying here, that is Ardhanarishwara. Sanga Kudai or Kādan. And then Sambalum Pambum Aninda Meni. Meni means body. So how does his body look? What is his body like? Sambalum Pambum Aninda Meni. On his body he is wearing what? Sambal. Sambal is ash. Pambu is snake. So on his body he is wearing ash and snake. These are all common descriptions of Shiva as Nagabhushana, etc. Right? So he is having basmam and nagam on his body. And Vidai Udayan. Vidai is a Tamil form of Vrishabham. So Vrishabham is the Sanskrit word which when it comes in Tamil it comes as Vidai. So Vidai Udayan means one who has a bull. And that is, we all know, Vrishabhavahana, he has a bull as his vehicle. Vidai Udayan, Vrishabhavahanan. And then Vengai Adal Meladai. Adai is dress. And Shiva, what kind of dress does he have? He wears skin, right? Tiger skin, that's what he's referring to. Vengai is tiger, Adal is skin. Meladai is upper garment. So Vengai Adal Meladai, he wears tiger skin. And then there are other descriptions of Shiva where he is described as wearing deer skin. That's what comes in the other next phrase. Velli pol pulli udaiman tol saarnda udai udayan. Udai is dress, and what else is wearing? He is wearing the deer skin, and that deer is man, and udaiman means a particular type of deer, and that particular type of deer has spots on its skin, and those spots are silver in color. Velli means silver or white. Velli, silver. So velli pol pulli udaiyan. Pulli means the deer, that skin that has spots, silver spots. So velli pol pulli, pulli is the spot, velli is silver. Velli pol pulli means silver like spots. Udaiman, the deer. Tol is skin. Sarnda udai, that means he is wearing a dress of a deer that has specks or white spots. So spotted deer skin he is wearing. And then what does he have? What does he do? Nammai udayan kandir. Udayan means he has, right? So nammai udayan means he has us as his slave, as his servant. Nammai udayan. Kandir is a rhetorical phrase which means for emphasis. So nammai udayan means he has us as his devotees, as his slave. Now he looks at the minister and the king's men. He looks at the ministers. Ummodum மற்றும் உளராய் நின்ற படை உடையான் means the king. So ummodu means with you. Ummodu means with you. உளராய் நின்ற padai, the soldiers who are standing with you, right? The king, minister has come with 10 or 12 or 15 soldiers to arrest and take back Thirunavukkarasar. So Thirunavukkarasar is looking at the ministers and telling them, the one who has you and this men who are standing with you, I don't have to listen to his order. He doesn't even say directly king, but he says the one who has you and the soldiers as his people, padai udayan, that means they're referring to the king. Pani ākkum. Pani is command, order. Ākkum means to obey, listen. Paniyom allōm. Pani means again obligation here. So ummodum மற்றும் உளராய் நின்ற படை உடையான் பணி கேட்கும் பணியோம் allōm means we have no obligation to listen to obey the commands of the king who has sent you and these men who are standing with you. I have no obligation to listen to that king's command. Pasam ara visumbadiyom name. Pasam is a Sanskritam word which means, literally means rope, bondage. So means bonds, all the bondage that one has, right? All the bonds that attaches to the various things. Ara means totally, without removing. Visumbadi, visudal means to fling away, to cast away. So what that phrase pasamara visumbadiyom name means is, we have cast away all our bonds. We are free. We have no attachments. We have no bondages. We are fully liberated. Because of that, I don't have to listen to your king's order. So that's the meaning of this 9th verse. Any comments, questions, we can discuss. Okay. So Rama, can you repeat the whole verse? Sanga Kurai. Uraiman. Yeah. Very good. So now we have come to the 10th song. which is the final song of this padhigam. So, one thing we will know is that, we will notice as you go along, is that Sambandhar's padhigams usually have 11 songs, where in the first 10 songs it describes the padhigam, sings the glory of Shiva and all those things, and in the 11th song, Thirunavukkarasar Sambandhar will sing as a palashruti, kadaikappu as they say, the closing song of the padhigam, where he will say that, Sambandhan of this town has sung on Shiva of this town, and those who sing this padhigam will get this benefit. That is how Sambandhar's padhigams will end. Thirunavukkarasar's padhigam, they don't have that kind of a closing song. So it doesn't include any palashruti at the end of this padhigams. So that's the one thing we will know as we go along. So in the final song, again, Ramakrishna, you can follow with me. Na nambanaye பாடப்பெற்றோம் நாணற்றார் நல்லாமே உள்ளப் பெற்றோம் ஆ என்று எமை ஆழ்வான் அமரர் நாதன் அயனொடு மார்க்கு அறிவு அறிய அனலாய் நீண்ட தேவாதி தேவன் சிவன் என் சிந்தை சேர்ந்து இருந்தான் தென் திசைக்கோன் தானே வந்து கோ ஆடி குற்றேவல் செய்கின்றாலும் குணமாக கொள்ளோம் என் குணத்து உளோமே. Good. So, in this song again he repeats his devotion to Shiva, and he says that, he doesn't listen to anybody else, he doesn't care about anybody else. So, the first phrase, Navara Nambanaye Padapetrom. Na is tongue. Na Ara means to tongue's satisfaction. Ara means to be satisfied. Na Ara means to my tongue's satisfaction. Means I enjoy singing. Right? Navara Nambanaye Padapetrom. Namban is a name used to denote Shiva. So, as you know, Shiva has many names. That's why we have Sahasranamam. And each name refers to one attribute of Shiva. Whatever be the name, right? Whether it is Shivam or Sadasivam or Maheshwara or Isha or any name that you see in the Sahasranam, they are all describing attributes of the God. So, Namban is a name that is used to refer to Shiva, and that means Nambadal in Tamil means to like. So, Namban is somebody who is worthy of liking, somebody who is liked by everybody. That kind of a word. So, Namban means it refers to Shiva, means somebody who is lovable, likable, etc. So, Naara Nambanaye Pada Petrom. Pada means to sing. Petrom means we basically saying we have achieved. So, what that phrase Navara and Na-ara, when they, because of Sandhi, when they join together, in Tamil, vowel sound followed by vowel sound, they will combine with an intermediate consonant will come inside. So, Na-ara, in this place, it will become Na-vara. The V sound will come in between. When you hear the Oduvar singing, you will hear him singing as Navara. I'm mentioning it, I use the word split version to make it easy for you to read and understand. But when singing, depending upon the talam and the flow, they will sing with the sandhi built in. So, nāvāra nambanaye pādapetrom means we are happily singing the glory of Shiva. That's the first phrase. Nān attrar nallāme villapetrom. That means the Jains, we are separated from the Jains. That's the meaning of that phrase. And again, is referring to some attribute of Jains. Nān attrar. Nān means shame. Attrar means those who don't have. Nān attrar means those who have no shame. That is referring to Jains. And usually that means refers to the Jain practice of going around without clothing. As you know, Jain monks, they, to show that they have no attachment, nothing, etc., so they even don't wear clothing. They go around naked. And because of that, Thirunavukkarasar is referring to them as the shameless people. That's one way of looking at it. The other way is that the Jains profess ahimsa, non-violence, truthfulness and all that, right? But what are the Jain monks doing now? They have gone to the king, they are telling the king lies, and they want Thirunavukkarasar to be punished. So they are going against whatever they were saying, right? Ahimsa and Satyam and all that, right? They are all thrown to the wind, and they are lying and wanting to cause harm to Thirunavukkarasar. So he is saying they are shameless because they say one thing outside, but shamelessly they go and lie. So that's another way of interpreting it. But the straightforward interpretation is that they are the Jains who go around naked. Nānattrar nallāme villapetrom. Nalludal means to be friendly. So in Tamil, the word for friend is nanban. Nal is the root word which means to be friendly. Nallāme means without being friendly. Villapetrom. Villudal means to leave, to separate. So, Nānattrar nallāme villapetrom. So, what he's saying is the shameless Jains are no longer friendly with us and they have left us. We have separated from the unfriendly, shameless Jains. And then, next phrase, endru eḷimaiyadu. The in Tamil has several meanings. Is the phrase. That means that, it's a expression of pity. So is expression of pity, and Shiva has taken pity on me. Endru eḻimaiyadu. It means the Lord who is the master of me, who made me his slave, taking pity on me. That's what it means. Because Thirunavukkarasar, when he was a Jain monk for 30-40 years, Shiva didn't do anything, but at some point in time, he took pity on him and made him his slave. So the endru eḻimaiyadu means the Lord who took pity on me and made me his slave. That's the meaning of that phrase. Amarar Nathan. Amarar is Sanskritam word Amara, which is Devas. Nathan is again Sanskritam word Lord, the master, right? Shiva is the master of the Devas. So that's what Amarar Nathan means. Ayanodu Markku Arivu Ariya Analai Ninda Devadi Devan. So this is referring to the time when Brahma and Vishnu were debating as to who among them is the supreme. And then Shiva appeared as an infinite column of fire. And Brahma took the form of a swan and flew up to see the top. Vishnu took the form of a boar and dug through the earth, ground to see the bottom of the fire. And neither of them could succeed. And then Shiva appeared and revealed himself. So that's what he is referring to in this phrase. Ayanodu. Ayan is Tamil word form of Ajaha. Brahma is known as Ajaha, right? And Ayan is the Tamil form of that. Brahma. Ayanodu means with Brahma. Brahma and Mark. Mal is Tamil word for Vishnu. So Ayan is Tamil word for Brahma. Mal is Tamil word for Vishnu. These two words will come in many songs. Ayanodu Malk. Ayanodu Mark means with Brahma and Vishnu. To them, to both of them. Arivu Ariya. Arivu means to be comprehended. Comprehension, understanding. Knowledge, Arivu. Ariya means impossible. So he stood as an infinite column of fire and he was impossible to be realized. He could not be realized, he could not be seen by Brahma and Vishnu. That's what it means. Ayanodu Mark Arivu Ariya Analai Ninda. Anal is fire. Ninda means to extend. Devadi Devan. Sanskrit word directly no is the Deva of all the Devas. So Ayanodu Mark Arivu Ariya Analai Ninda Devadi Devan. He is the infinite column of fire that was incomprehensible to both Brahma and Vishnu, and he is the Lord of all the Devas. Sivan, and that's an obvious name, Shiva. En Sindai Serthu Irundhan means that Shiva is described the qualities of Shiva, and he says that Shiva is in my heart. Sindai means mind or heart. So Sivan en Sindai Serthu Irundhan. So he is remaining in my heart. I am always thinking of him. So that's the meaning of that phrase. And because Shivan is in my heart at all times, because of that, then it goes to the next phrase. Then they say Kon. Then means south. It has 2-3 meanings, but in this context it means south. Disai is direction or region. Kon is Lord. Then Disai Kon means the Lord of the southern region. In Indian mythology we have 8 directions, and for 8 directions we have 8 lords. So Indra, Varuna, Yama, all that, right? So Yama is the Lord of the southern direction. So that's what he's referring to. Then this Kon means Yama, the God, Lord of death. So even if Yama, Thane Vandu, if Yama comes to me and says, Ko Adi, and tells me that, he has taken hold of me, now I am his pawn, I have to do whatever he wants me to do. He is my master. What does it mean? The greatest fear we have of all humans is that the fear of death. Right? When we don't want to die. So, when then this Kon, Thane Vandu Ko Adi means when Yama comes to me and grabs hold of me and says that, now I am in his custody. And says that, Kutraival Saigandralam. I have to do his bidding. Even if Yama comes and grabs hold of me and says that I have to do his bidding, Gunamaga Koldom, we won't care. En Gunattu Ulome. We are immersed in the 8 qualities. En Gunam. En is 8. Gunam is qualities. Ulom is we are. So we are immersed in the 8 qualities. Because of that, we don't care even if Yama comes to me and orders me around. I don't care. And the En Gunam can be interpreted in one of 2 ways. One way of interpreting is that the Lord, God has 8 qualities. There are descriptions in scriptures. You will find that the Lord has 8 qualities. And those 8 qualities are things like omniscience, omnipresence, eternal bliss, and grace, and etc., etc. Right? Free from bondage. So there are 8 qualities. So there are, this will be having Tamil, this can be described in Tamil using Tamil words, this can be described in Sanskritam using Sanskritam words, something like Swatantram and, Sarvajñatvam and so on and so forth. But the point is that there are 8 qualities of God, attributes: omniscience, omnipresence, omnipotency, knowing everything automatically, and limitlessness. A lot of things are there. So the 8 of them are described. So you can say that Thirunavukkarasar is immersed in the God who is having these 8 qualities. That's one way of looking at it. And when you have that, when you are totally associated with something, you have that powers as well, right? When you have the support, when you are identifying yourself with somebody who is very powerful, you have his protection. So to some extent, you have this, that you don't have to worry about anything. That's one way of doing it, looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that he has become a great devotee. And again, there are 8 attributes are described for 8 devotee, as good devotee. There are things like non-violence and self-control and patience and compassion and truth and all those things. So there are 8 attributes described as they describes attributes of a pure devotee. So you can also take it as he has become a pure devotee, so he has got these 8 attributes. And because of that, he doesn't have to worry about anything. So that's how he says. So bottom line, Shiva, I am happily singing Shiva's glory. I have separated from these shameless people, and Shiva has taken pity on me and has made me his servant. And that Shiva is the Lord of the Lords. He is the Devadi Deva, and he dwells in my heart at all times. Because of that, I have no fear. And even if Yama comes to me and says that I am in his control now and I have to do his bidding, I will not care. I would not obey. So when even Yama, I am not afraid of even Yama. I am not afraid of your king. I am not afraid of anything. So go away. I am not coming. So that's how he finishes this padhigam. And what happened is that after this padhigam, the king's minister and the men, remember, there were 10 or 15 people who had come to arrest him and take him back to the king. And the village, right, the town, let's say there are 2,000 people supporting Thirunavukkarasar. They cannot forcibly arrest him and take him. And also they have seen his power, right? When you are in the front of a great saint, you will not be able to do something that he is not willing to do. So these guys fall at Thirunavukkarasar's feet and says, Swami, if you don't come with us, if you go empty-handed, we will be punished by the king. And please help us. And Thirunavukkarasar looked at those people, those ministers and the king's men, and says, hey, these guys were not to be blamed. I don't want any harm to come to them. And Shiva will protect me. So he decides to go with them to the king's court. That's the conclusion of this padhigam. Any questions, comments, we can discuss. Okay. So, if one of you can repeat the whole verse, then we can listen to the Oduvar and conclude. So, Murthy, you want to repeat whole verse? சேர்ந்து இருந்தான். allōm. Good. So with that we will, since there are no other questions, we will listen to the Oduvar singing these 4 songs and then we will conclude today. Did I skip one song? I think I skipped one song, right? Give me 1 second, I will go back to that. Yeah? Let me see. No. What happened was that arumai, when he was singing, I think he had misread that line, so he was trying to repeat and correct. So arumai is the verse is correct. Arumai is correct, but in the singing sometimes is a live recording. But that in the studio when they are recording, when they make a mistake, he goes back and corrects it when delivers it correctly. But they don't re-record it. Yeah. Yeah. So when the so because this is musically delivered, when the Oduvar is singing, for music as a song, right? They will repeat sometimes 2 or 1 or some phrase they will repeat twice, either to make sure that the meter is the taళam is adjusted for that whatever they are singing. That's one example, and sometimes to make it clear to the listener, so that if you missed it first time, you can listen to the second time. So sometimes I agree, they repeat something for emphasis, but many times they just repeat it for a musical aspect as well as to make the audience understand the song better. Because if you sing once and then you keep going, you may not register in your mind. That kind of thing. Yeah, now we'll listen to that song. Yeah. So, as you said, the Oduvar, when you were singing this song, you would have noticed that he repeated one verse several times. Sivan en sindai சேர்ந்து இருந்தான். Okay, and that again, that is the Oduvar, this Oduvar, whose voice we were hearing. He is no more. He passed away in 2009. And his life mission was to sing these thevarams, and he was 86 or 87 when he passed away, but all his life he was doing this. So he was so immersed into this, so he knew everything, and he wanted to make sure that when he sings, the essence of the song is communicated to the audience. So he tries to do all kinds of things, right? He will take a few words here and there and put them together to make it understandable for you. That kind of thing he will do. So, Sivan and Sindai சேர்ந்து இருந்தான் is a very powerful statement in the 10th song. Because Shiva is dwelling in my heart. And that is the one that gives Thirunavukkarasar this much courage to refute the king's orders. And that's why he stressed it several times in that. Yeah. So, anything else you want to talk about this padhigam? Any song in this padhigam? Otherwise, we will conclude. Okay. Good. Yeah. Next one we will do another padhigam called the Masil Vinayam. Very popular padhigam. This is what happens. The padhigam that he sang when he goes to meet the king. He goes to the king's court. After what happens. We will cover it we will have some story segment in the next session where we will describe that event. So, but that will be the next padhigam we will take up. Good. So we will conclude here. Tiruchitrambalam.